Your Boston Celtics just got some great news. Yes, I know it's just Summer League going on right now, but we have seen the debuts of Celtics first round pick Hugo Gonzalez. Also have seen second and third year players like Baylor Scheierman and Jordan Walsh show out, and even some of the players that could be factors in Boston's front court this upcoming season show flashes as well. We're going to talk about all of it on today's show as you're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Tyler Smith. The Celtics have done pretty well so far in Summer League action to this point. They have been 2-1 to open the season so far. They have one more game coming up in a few days on Thursday. July 11th, they had a win big over the Memphis Grizzlies by 14. Then against the Knicks, they win by 13, and Ugo Gonzalez didn't play in that matchup, but he ended up returning in the July 14th matchup where they did lose a clutch game to the Miami Heat. So they got a little bit of quasi-revenge there against the Knicks, but their demons showing up again in the Miami Heat there. But they're 2-1, looking to be 3-1 and have a good seed there in the Vegas Summer League tournament. And look, I know it doesn't mean all that much, but you do win a trophy at the end of it. It kind of means something, and it's good vibes from the front office, people selecting these players, and just heading into next season. The Celtics are going to have a little bit of uncertainty within the back end of their rotation. So if you want the Celtics to win the Summer League this season, go down below and make sure it happens. Manifest it. Like today's video. Hit that thumbs up icon so the Celtics can have good vibes heading to the rest of their Summer League journey. All right, let's talk about it, man. Ugo Gonzalez. We'll start with him first. And he's only played 2 of the 3 Celtics games so far this Summer League circuit, and he's been solid. Look, the shooting numbers are not great so far for Ugo. He shot, although from three-point range in the first game against Memphis, he was solid, 3 of 5 from three-point, but then 1 of 7 against the Heat. But that was never going to be his calling card heading into the league. Like, this wasn't a player who was going to show up in the box score a ton as far as like what he's going to contribute to winning, even though he did so against Memphis, had 5 assists, crashed the glass. Miami, he has 7 boards, a couple of different great offensive rebounds. Like, there was a great defensive sequence that he had that led into a step-in three-pointer against the Memphis Grizzlies. Like, Ugo has shown great flashes so far. It's that consistency and just adjustment to the pro game that he has to kind of adjust to, as he's a really young player as well, 19 years old. And he talked about these kinds of struggles that he's going to have early on with media availability. He said, if I'm having a bad game, I'm having it. I'm not looking for excuses. Today, I got a lot of turnovers and bad decisions, talking about the Heat game, a lot of fouls. I wasn't playing like how I should play, or they're expecting me to play. So no excuses for that. Just try to clean up my mind, and work for the next game. He had 6 turnovers in that game against Miami. This is a player who's going to be sloppy coming into the league here, but he's not going to be relied upon to be a huge ball handler or anything like that. His calling card is going to be his defense and his effort level, his 50-50 ball, like IQ and kind of magnetism that he'll have in those situations. And look, I want him to keep making these mistakes. Like, I want him to learn in this situation. So later down the line, when maybe he'll be playing some key minutes for the Celtics potentially next season, that those things will kind of be cleared up a little bit, or at least to a lesser extent than we're seeing so far in the Summer League. We don't want 6 turnovers in an NBA action game. Let's get those out of the way right now. And I want to see those mistakes. I want him to learn from them, and I want the coaching staff to instill in him that they believe and they want him to keep making these mistakes as well. More from Gonzalez here. He said, I'm trying to have a positive message to my mind after a turnover or missed shot. I'm trying to have the mindset of I have to take the best decision next play. But yes, try to live with the mistake. That is what basketball means. This guy's got it, man. In between the ears, Ugo Gonzalez is a smart basketball player. And we know, like, drafting at 28th overall, like, Brad Stevens really hasn't had the opportunity as well as GM. Just a quick side note to draft a super highly touted prospect or somebody who's going to be an immediate contributor right away. We know we drafted a raw prospect in Ugo Gonzalez, but what we also know is that we drafted a guy who has it between the ears, a high IQ player who has been around professionals for his entire basketball career up until this point. He's been with Real Madrid since he was 9 years old, for God's sake. So he has the tutelage and all the things that you need up in his noggin to be able to be a successful NBA player. Now he just has to put the raw tools that he has to work and get polished by this coaching staff and continue to work as he and continues through Summer League and into the early stages of his NBA career, which I want him to be thrown into the fire for early on. Matt Reynolds, the Celtics head coach in Summer League, had this to say about Ugo as well. He said, I think he just struggled with some shots. Like, look, guys, like, shooting is going to come as time goes on with Ugo Gonzalez. But we're asking him to do the same thing every game. That's impact the ball on defense, active shifts, rebound, handle, screen, cut off ball. He's such a versatile player that you want to put him in all these spots and just didn't have it for much of the game. But I still think he made a bunch of big plays for us. Throughout the time that Ugo has been playing in Summer League, he has been tasked with being on the other opposing team's ball handlers for a large portion of the minutes. And, like when I think about this player, and yes, he's a little bit bigger than these two guys. I'm going to play a little bit more on the wing, maybe a 2-3 than our particular point guard or a true backcourt player. But I feel like his ceiling as an NBA player is a Marcus Smart and Derek White kind of hybrid. You get the tenacity that Smart had and the on-ball, just dog that he was, and the 50-50 balls that he would dive on the floor for. You get that with Derek White as well, but White is a player who could crash the offensive glass at a super high rate, which Smart did to an extent, but White is, that shot blocker for a smaller player. He has obviously the much more consistent three-point shot of these two guys. Like, if he can become a hybrid of one of these two guys, then he is absolutely like a smash, a home run hit at pick 28 overall in this past draft. So if he can ever reach that ceiling, then I'm all in on Ugo Gonzalez. I think what he wants to do in this league is contribute to winning, which is what these two players do. So if he can ever reach those heights, I am all in on Brad Stevens as a drafter there late in the first round. What do you guys think, though? I looked at Baylor Scheierman's numbers as the 30th overall pick back in 2024. In the games that he saw action in last season, he played 12.5 minutes a game. I think Ugo Gonzalez is a little bit better and can probably translate quicker to the NBA than Baylor Scheierman did. So I'm putting his at 14.5 minutes per game this season. You guys predict it for me down in the comment section, over or under. Is Ugo getting a big role for the Celtics this upcoming season? You let me know down below. All right, let's move on to another player the Celtics fans, I'm sure, have been pretty, kind of intrigued by. This is his third Summer League now, Jordan Walsh. And I guess this is a good transition because Ugo was kind of involved in this little scuffle that Jordan Walsh got into in the Heat game just 10 minutes into his action. Walsh was actually ejected after shoving Pelle Larsson in the back. He was frustrated. And, look, it's not the best look to get ejected from Summer League games, but don't tell that to Joe Mazzulla because he had this to say about the whole ordeal. Jordan Walsh revealed this to the media after the game. He said, Joe Mazzulla told me he loved it. As soon as I got to the locker room and got ejected and checked my phone, he was texting me like, cool, I love this out of you. Look, I'm not going to lie. Like, this is not the most surprising answer from Joe Mazzulla to Jordan Walsh getting ejected from a Summer League game. If Joe Mazzulla could get ejected from every game without penalty, he would, in my opinion. So yeah, that's just the type of guy that he is. But look, man, I would love to see Walsh play this kind of like, I wrote enforcer here, but I don't know if it's as much enforcer, but like kind of get under your skin. Maybe a Dylan Brooks type of player, because I don't think Jordan Walsh is like this tough guy who is like, be the James Johnson type, get in your face, try to fight you guy. But he's going to try to get under your skin. He's going to try to do the little things that will throw you off your game as an opponent in a competitive setting. So I would love to see him play that role and kind of carve that out in the rotation this upcoming season if he is shown enough to this coaching staff that he's worthy of being in Joe Mazzulla's kind of rotation for the regular season and potentially beyond. Walsh said this about playing these past couple of games for Boston, and he says, I feel like I'm just trying to get under people's skin. I'm trying to get them confused and throw them off of their rhythm. It ended up happening to me, but I wanted to disrupt everybody. I want to take out your rhythm. I want to take you out of your play, your sets, and I just want to speed you up. And like that, look, I think that's awesome. I think the Celtics need more of those guys. I think Ugo Gonzalez is one of those type of players. And I think he can play a role Jordan Walsh can if he buys into it. Remember what he said before Summer League started when media had first started talking to the roster and all that stuff? He said that I was trying to be Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and I need to start to try to be Jordan Walsh instead. Yeah, you think you were drafted in the 40s in the second round. You were never going to be Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Like you could be a specialist in this league, a true 3-and-D player, super long wingspan, solid athlete, can really get out in transition where he was getting his work done early on in that Heat game. And he can also, if he can hit the three at a decent enough clip, like he's going to be a player in this league. Like throughout the Summer League games so far, he's been okay shooting the basketball, like 3 of 6 from 3-point range in the Grizzlies game. 1 for 6 in the Knicks game. Like I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not crazy often where players are super efficient in these Summer League games. These are nasty, like ugly basketball being played out there. You can't foul out. So like guys are literally being thrown around out there. So it's very hard to get in a rhythm at all playing Summer League. So don't take the efficiencies and the shooting numbers like to heart all too much when you're watching these games. But he's been solid as far as like getting out in transition and disrupting plays, crashing the glass. Like he's been okay for the most part. But like, let's be honest, this is Walsh's last chance to be a rotation guy at all as a Boston Celtic, at least in this league. He really hasn't been able to carve out a role over these past 2 seasons. And granted, the Celtics have been one of the most stacked teams in the league. Now the roster doesn't look as stacked anymore, and there are opportunities for minutes on that wing, especially with Jason Tatum out all of next season. And with that being said, there's going to be battles for those positions out there on the wing. Like, yeah, you have Jaylen Brown, but outside of that, I think, and yes, Sam Hauser as well, but outside of that, like, things are pretty wide open for the Celtics off of the bench. And I didn't even include Georges Niang here, who I guess is a wing, but small ball forward, doesn't play any defense. Doesn't really matter where you put him out there on the floor. But you got Josh Minot out there, who you signed to a 2-year deal. Ugo Gonzalez, your first-round pick. Baylor Scheierman, last year's first-round pick. And Jordan Walsh. We'll talk about Scheierman in a moment. But, like, this is what you got. This is going to be a battle between all of these guys. And Sam Hauser has an established role already. The Celtics are holding him out of trade conversations, so you know he is going to potentially even start for the C's next season for a bunch of games. But after that, like, question marks. Josh Minot, is he going to be any type of offensive threat in his NBA career? We know he can play defense. We know he's an athlete, but what else can he provide? Ugo Gonzalez, how ready is he to play at 19 years old, year one, never been even in the college setting just yet? Baylor Scheierman, like, we'll talk about him. And then Jordan Walsh, like, I don't know. Like, Walsh has as good a chance as anybody to carve out a role, but it's just going to have to end up being who beats out the other three in training camp for that established off-the-bench wing. Now let's talk about Baylor Scheierman, because he's absolutely in that conversation. And when we were talking about all the Celtics trade rumors and all that good stuff early this offseason, like, we were thinking about Sam Hauser potentially being on his way out and Baylor Scheierman, kind of ushering into that Sam Hauser role. I'm not so sure that he's ready for that. Can he take the year two jump that we need for him in order for the Celtics to be competitive in that Eastern Conference? Look, so far, his calling card coming into this league was going to be movement shooting, and he has not been a good shooter whatsoever. Now, granted, he's being tasked, especially in the Summer League team, as there aren't a ton of true point guards on the roster with a lot of the ball handling duties. But he has made the most of those. Like, he's been initiating, he's been finding open teammates. Like, 21 assists in 3 games is really, really good, especially in the Summer League where they're not scoring all that many points. He showed the scoring flashes a little bit better in that Heat game. But in the Memphis and the Knicks game, like, he struggled 2 for 15 from three-point range for a guy who shot it at a 40% clip at the college level. Look, if Baylor Scheierman cannot shoot, he's not playing for Joe Mazzulla. Like, we know the Celtics like to get up 45-plus threes a game. Baylor Scheierman, if he's putting up 7 of those and he can't hit any of them, then he's not going to be in this rotation. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you can't shoot on the Boston Celtics, you will not play, unless you're a 7-footer, because not many of the guys that are 7 feet plus on the Celtics roster can shoot or ever will be able to. But Brad Stevens said this on Baylor Scheierman. He's pretty encouraged by what he saw, at least in real NBA game action. There's not as much to take away from Summer League. But he said he played really well at the end of this regular season. The biggest challenge then, as you now stack another Summer League on top of this, is don't try to do too much. Don't try to be somebody that you're not, and just do what you would do within the confines of our team when we all get back together in September. And I do believe that Baylor Scheierman is a better ball handler than like a Sam Hauser type of player is. He's more than just 3-and-D. He can dish it out. He can run the pick and roll as a ball handler, and he's a really accurate passer, has solid vision out there. I would love one of these players that the Celtics have taken in the back end of round 1 or into the middle of round 2 to be a long-term rotation piece, because they're going to need that. When you pay Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum 75% or over 70% of your salary cap percentage, then you're going to need some of these cheap rookie deal level players to hit and be contributors early on. And Scheierman, who's a player who played 4 or 5 seasons at the college level, is going to need to start contributing like sooner rather than later if he ever wants to be a long-term player in this league. So I am hopeful, and I am hoping that the Celtics get one of those guys, at least one of these 3 guys, to be a long-term rotational piece, that bench wing for years to come. Ooh, and look, Walsh plays a different kind of style than a guy like Ugo Gonzalez does, in my opinion. And coincidentally with Baylor Scheierman, maybe all 3 of these guys can carve out a role one day. But who are you most confident in on the Boston Celtics? If it's Ugo Gonzalez, give me an HG. If it's Jordan Walsh, give me a JW, and I wouldn't be too enthusiastic if that was your answer. And then Baylor Scheierman, give me a BS down in the comment section. You let me know who you're most confident in carving out a role next season as it's wide open on that Celtics bench. Before we move on to the Celtics front court players, I got to tell you guys one more time about this awesome deal. Commemorate the good times. Look back on when the Celtics were dropping confetti from the ceiling of TD Garden, and go get yourself a Celtics championship t-shirt with all the caricatures on the front. I think this is an awesome shirt. I'm going to get myself one because it's literally over half off. It's like 65% off. It's an unbelievable deal. Go get it at this link right here, chatsports.com/champ sale. And don't worry, I put that link in the comment section and description of today's video to make it easier for you guys. So go get yourself some commemorative 2024 NBA champions, your Boston Celtics, gear today. All right, let's talk about Charles Bassey, my guy. Another solid showing against the Miami Heat. Didn't play as much as he did in the previous two matchups, but he still stuffed the stat sheet, guys. He put up nearly a double-double once again. 10 points, 9 rebounds, a block. Was efficient from the floor as well. Only 23 minutes played. Look, this is a guy who is going to be an around-the-rim player and a big body at that. He's played in the NBA before, and he has shown us throughout the Summer League so far that he has been a big-time contributor and a winning contributor at that. Like, he was a plus 20 in his first game against the Memphis Grizzlies, and he only played 18 minutes. A plus 15 in the 22 that he played against the New York Knicks. Like, this is a guy who joined the Summer League roster late, and, a player who hasn't really seen as much opportunity as maybe we think, or maybe he should have so far through the first 4 years of his NBA career. And that's why I kind of want the Celtics to go out there and make a move for Charles Bassey. In the 2024-25 NBA season, only played 376 minutes, so not too much. But if you look deeper at his percentages in this league, they're really, really good. Block percentage, rim protector. He's got a 4.1 block percentage. That's in the 98th percentile of big men in this league. Oh, Celtics going to struggle on the glass this year. He's one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA as well. Got a 15.6 offensive rebound percentage. That's in the 98th percentile, again, of bigs in this league. So we have a true specialist on the Celtics Summer League roster who also deserves to be on an NBA roster this season. I think that NBA roster could be the Boston Celtics. There's so much uncertainty with the front court in Boston right now. Like, the centers on this roster, you could argue that any 4 of them are not NBA players at this point. Like, Ugo Garza, he hasn't seen the opportunity. Yeah, he was a college player at the highest level, but can he do it in the NBA? Amari Williams, rookie. Xavier Tillman, is he still an NBA player? We'll talk about all those guys in just a moment. What do you guys think? Should the Celtics sign Charles Bassey after a couple strong Summer League showings? Let me know down in the comment section, yes or no. I'm trying to hear what the Celtics fans have to say. I'll tell you, I would say yes because of all the reasons I just mentioned. This Celtics front court is not good. Ugo Garza, not really much NBA experience to this point. Can work on the offensive end. I think he can be a connector, but the defense is a big, big question mark, as well as his lateral quickness and overall mobility. Neemias Queta, does he have any NBA skills really whatsoever outside of being big? I don't know. Solid enough lob threat, but his hands are questionable. Can defend the rim. He's an okay rebounder too. I just don't know. Maybe he's just a more souped-up version of Charles Bassey that I'm underrating a little bit. Xavier Tillman, I'm not so sure he's an NBA player. He's also 6'7", so I'm not really counting on him to play much minutes at the 5. Amari Williams, he hasn't really got much opportunity. We'll talk about Amari in a second, but not much opportunity so far in the Celtics Summer League run. This is what Brad Stevens had to say about the Celtics front court group, and are kind of reading between the lines here. I think he's the reason the Celtics could bring in a guy like Charles Bassey. So that group will not be the group that people single out based on paper on what they've done with their careers thus far as our strongest position. But it's up to them to prove it otherwise. And one of those guys, like I mentioned, is Amari Williams. And he has shown flashes and a couple nice passes from the top of the key. His rebounding solid as well, but hasn't, been the player, or at least been marqueed as the player that Charles Bassey has so far through Summer League action. I still want to sign Bassey, so I'm going to be on the lookout for that. That's why you subscribe to the channel, is that we'll do it for today's edition of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Look, I think it's been great news overall for the Celtics fans throughout the Summer League. Like, guys are playing at a really, really high effort level, and the Celtics are winning games as well. So great news overall from the Summer League so far. Looking ahead to this Laker game where hopefully they can lock up Bronny, who's having a really solid Summer League as well. Lock us in and hit that subscribe button, though, for the best Celtics offseason content on YouTube, youtube.com/CelticsTV. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.